Today is July 9, 2013 and I'm frying my lumpiang poke and turon, banana roll and sprout beans spring roll.
To a region of Ireland known as the Visayas. Now if a man of pig rights comes to the Philippines, there are so many different types of vehicles that have been modern up. Just as jeepneys originated with the cast-off American jeeps after World War II, the Filipino tricycles developed after people started bolting wings and brakes to their motorcycles. The design became so popular, they are now manufactured this way. And this is the first time I've been in a tricycle with seats in the front and the back. But that doesn't mean only 5 people sitting. Up to 9, one on the back here, one on the side rail, and then luggage, top and bottom. Look, they're practical, they're great fun to ride in, and it's part of the fun and joy of being in the Philippines, getting to ride in some of the coolest vehicles you've ever seen or been. I'm travelling down what is known locally as the Tuna Highway. So called for the amount of tuna that gets transported along it on its way to the market. I'm heading to the main port of Iowa, where the tuna boats return after weeks at sea. Fish are being unloaded, and there's all types of species coming up out of this. There's a sailfish there, a marlin. The size of these fish are absolutely amazing. And the freshness as well. In this mould, it's full of ice with a little bit of salt. Interestingly, there's not hundreds of fish in here, so I'd say the methods of fishing are still primitive enough to be able to allow some of them to get away. The size, numbers and species of fish coming ashore provide some insights into how healthy the waters are, but it's the method of catching them here that's so incredible. So try and imagine, there's a dozen of these boats on this big mothership. It's just like basically a green vegetable salad. Just going to simply wash them in a little bit of this coconut vinegar, which has been marinating with chilies and ginger, which will add a nice flavour. But the reason that you do this with bonito is because it toughens the skin. So just roll it around in it, and then once that's done, pat them dry and put them in the fridge. So using a very, very fine julienne of green pawpaw, daikon, shallot and carrot, I'm going to grate a little bit of ginger into it. I'll give it a really nice flavour. A little bit of rock salt and a tiny splash of this vinegar. And all I want to do with that now is just to put it aside so that all those flavours seep in and it makes it really nice and strong. And start with the next salad. Sea grapes are found all the way along the coast here, and they literally look like bunches of grapes. When you bite into them, have a beautiful crunch and full of water and very salty, but still have a nice vegetable flavour. A little bit like wakame seaweed. And into that I'm just putting some very finely chopped onions, very finely chopped tomatoes, salt, a little bit of black pepper, and then some calamansi lime juice, which is really like mandarin juice. It's sweet and it adds a really nice flavour, and that's going to look really good as well. So the next stage of this will be the dressing. The dressing, I'm using a little bit more of this lime juice, some virgin olive oil, a little bit of this stuff which is toddy. It's coconut wine. So a little bit of that, and what I'm doing there is, because I can't find any mirin or sake, this coconut wine will work in the same way, adding the same sort of flavour. A little bit of red and green chilli. This is going to add a little bit of spice to it. Now it's up to you how much of this you add, and to sweeten it up, some brown cane sugar. And what that will do is make a really nice dressing dressing, which will add lots and lots of flavour to it, bring out the flavours of the fish as well. Now the question you're asking is, what about the fish? So with the fish, after taking them out of the fridge, I've actually wrapped them in a clean cloth so that they're perfectly dry. And then using a cake rack on a flame, grease it nicely, grease the fillet nicely, make sure the fillet is dry, put it on, and be patient. I can see it's crackling now. Skin. Tiny speck of an island surrounded by a reef and home to about 800 people. With no fresh water and very limited natural resources, the people here rely heavily on this reef for food. 60 years ago, when the Americans left after World War II, large amounts of munitions remained on the island. The people of the islands thought, what a great way to go fishing. Throw TNT into the water, it explodes underwater, and the fish float to the top. Cyanide was also used, and over the years, the reefs here were totally destroyed. One of the people on this island decided enough was enough, and they started creating a sanctuary. This is the first sanctuary here. And what they did was they just banned fishing with nets. They started fishing only with hooks and sinkers, and obviously stopped that horrible process of bombing and poisoning the reef. Realising that very simple thing, that, you know, fishing for the future rather than fishing for today has changed their lives. And now this community has a school, it has a happy group of people who are enjoying their lives and being able to reap the benefits of the sea without. And this is the undeniable proof. Not only have the recovered fish stocks given the people of Acco more food for their table, it's also given their tiny island economy a massive boost. Tourism has boomed, and divers now come here from all over the world. Wow! Down there is looking as good as anywhere I've seen. The coral's back, and I've got to swim with the turtle. Fantastic. I'm doing a dish today which is famous all over the Philippines. It's called sinigang. It's basically a salad soup with whatever you like. You can do it with beef, you can do it with chicken, but I'm going to do it with seafood. And sort of the seafood that they catch close by. Very simple but very, very tasty. Start off with, you have to make a stock. So into my stock, some garlic, just a whole clove. I don't want to crush it or add any of the flavours into it. I just want a little bit of that garlic flavour to sort of flow through the whole stock. So in a big pot of water, garlic, a red onion, which I'm cutting into quarters, and my own touch, adding a bit of Sri Lankan into this and putting curry leaves. The curry leaves I found at Chef Claude's house, sort of sitting there, and I thought, hey, hang on, that's a curry leaf tree. So I brought them with me, and I'm going to add those to it. A piece of ginger, again, just cut in half or into 3 pieces, and then throw it in, so that it flavours it but doesn't overpower it. Some black peppercorns, and then lastly the tamarind. Grab 3 or 4 of them and just snap them in half so that the flavour comes out and throw them in. This is like a Filipino tom yum soup. The last thing is fish. Got a beautiful red snapper which I've filleted already. Wash it really well. Make sure all the blood's out of it, and then that way you'll have a nice clean stock. You will also have to skim it as it boils. So breaking that in half, just placing it in the stock pot, turning it on. So my stock is ready. Now, just strain it. I'm straining it through 2 strainers. And as you can see, it's come through quite clear. I'm making sure that I just leave a little bit of stock in the bottom, because that's where all the sediment is. And I've got plenty here. So season it fairly well, but I'm going to add a little bit of fish sauce into the bowl before I plate, so that will enhance it even more. But I'm happy with the flavours. The sourness has come through perfectly. Next thing to do is to poach all of the ingredients that I've prepared, and they have to be done one at a time so that none of them overcook. So first I'll start with my chilies. They'll only take a few seconds. They're ready. Next, my fish. So just gently stir it around and then leave it for a few seconds. Next, the prawns. As soon as they go in, they'll go a beautiful orange colour. The echallots. Now, a good way to tell that these are ready is that they'll float. As soon as they are partially cooked through, they'll just lift to the top. Okay, the tomato, again, needs seconds. Just basically in and then out again. And lastly, my greens. Hello, doggy. Visitors. And now I'm ready to assemble. So first, in the bottom of this, for one portion, a couple of bits of fish, a few prawns, the blanched onions, chilies, greens, and the tomatoes. And just quickly whiz them around in the boiling stock. While I'm doing that, and it's heating through, I'll get my plates ready. So, to add that extra bit of flavour is just probably a teaspoon or two of fish sauce. Okay, a little mix is ready. Put it into a waiting bowl and finish it off with a ladle of soup. Steaming hot, very nutritious, clean sinigang, a Filipino favourite.